Welcome to ThinkTech on OC16, Hawaii's weekly newscast on things that matter to tech and to Hawaii. I'm Jay Fidell.
And I'm Alisa Onishi.
In our show tonight, we'll cover a tour we took along the path of the rail system planned from Kapolei to Ala Moana Center.
Our guides for this extraordinary tour were Cliff Slater and his wife Bobbie Slater of Honolulu Traffic.
First, we drove out to a field in East Kapolei to see the start of the system.
Over to the left will be the parking lot. The station itself spreads right across the road on both sides.
You have to really imagine how enormous that station is going to be. You have to visualize it blanketing this entire area with stairs, elevators, and escalators on both sides of the street that will be servicing this empty field.
People are going through rail stations. They just want to get where they're going. You know, you might sell newspapers. You get a little more activity when you get into a downtown station, but there, the shopping isn't necessarily part of the rail thing. It's just the city will own it. Typically it'll be free, and then subsequently they'll start charging for it. Now this is the second station is about here. Looking at this one, when you park your car here, to get from here to the campus is quite a ways. This is all part of the Ho'opili development. This is the finest agricultural land in the state of Hawaii.
They take the topsoil to the dump.
Apparently, the kind of soil that it is, it's a soil that is constantly renewing itself, and it moves. And when you try and build housing on it, on roads, okay, it tends to come apart.
It was very difficult for people to visualize the enormity of it and the finality. Once this thing is built, if they've just built this one station, what are they going to ever do with it? Anywhere you go, you say Hawaii, it's a magic word. This is not magic. This is a destroyer.
Then we continued on the route alongside other open fields and agricultural areas, again wondering where the traffic will come from.
Somewhere about here is where it takes a right, and it runs parallel to Farrington. Now, if we're going to take a right on Farrington, this is the most productive agricultural land in the state of Hawaii.
All these housing developments, the transit-oriented developments on the mainland, most of them have been highly subsidized.
People want their automobile, maybe small automobiles, they may be electric or they may be whatever, but they want an individual automobile. Every time you want to go somewhere by public transportation, it always takes you 2 to 3 times as long.
How can you go grocery shopping and bring your groceries on the train, take them off the train, go across that empty, dark building with your kids in tow and everything that you have to carry, and maybe transfer onto a bus with everything that you're carrying and your kids? How can you do it? How are you going to take those boxes with you on the bus and then transfer onto the train? You can't do it. Not only the extra time that you're spending, they talk about this is going to allow people so much more time with their families. How can it possibly allow them more time with their families?
We've gone past UH West Oahu, we turned right. We're on Farrington Highway at the moment, and Ho'opili Station is over there. Okay, and we're going to continue on. This is not going to be the maintenance facility. The maintenance facility is going to be further along. So this is the Ho'opili, and then as we go down further down here, the rail would come up and join at some point down here. Joins Farrington.
And you see the size of everything they intend to do. It becomes obvious that this has nothing to do with helping people. This is only about development, landowners, bankers, big trust companies. We spend a fortune to pave over paradise. We take the money from the working people and give it to the big developers and bankers and landowners.
Now we're going to go under Fort Weaver Road down here. And just beyond there is the next station, what they call West Lock Station. We're We are approaching the Westlock station. Work going on here is test borings for the rail.
The track will be running where?
Right down the center.
Right down the center.
Things that they are allowed to do at the moment: test borings, chopping down trees, and moving utilities.
After a while, we got into more populated and congested areas and wondered if the system would have any meaningful effect on the traffic.
So far, we've spent a little more than $300 million mostly in the planning work, but also some of the physical work that is ongoing now that you're seeing here. The cost of the whole thing, before any cost overruns, the estimate is $5.2 billion. And most people believe, as we do, that there will be significant cost overruns. The original estimate on the Big Dig project, which Parsons Brinckerhoff partnered with Bechtel, that the original was 2.6 billion, and the final cost is 15 billion. Well, this is Waipahu Depot Road. Past here is the next station.
I think there has to be a way to bring this to a very human level. If you're going to talk about $5 billion, you have to visualize $5 billion coming out of a working man's pocket.
The current projection is that the federal government will provide $1.8 billion. There's a lot of doubt about that. The federal government has not appropriated any money at all. If there is no federal funding, and if the mayor holds to what he's already declared, that we would plow forward, then it would be plow forward, quote unquote, then it would be the average taxpayer that's going to foot the bill. Because what we're coming up to is Leawood Community College, and there's another station. As this road straightens out going to the right, there's another one at Pearl Highlands. Okay, so this is the station here, okay?
Banana Patch is a small area, maybe 10 or 15 families. Banana trees, of course, they grow all kinds of things in there. Chickens, wonderful families, wonderful families. The kind of area that to be sustainable, we're trying to encourage people to do. People have been there forever. They're going to wipe it out.
Literally going to be a parking lot. See the freeway, the rail now is going to go over this freeway. Along here, it's approximately 35 feet from the ground to the underside. Okay, and then topping that, there's a platform, 34-foot wide platform. The supporting pillars in this area will be about 6 feet in diameter. When we get into town, like Nimitz, will be 8 feet in diameter.
It became clear that the system will have a profound and possibly devastating effect on the existing highways and communities along the way.
All of these beautiful trees, the ocean's out there. To our left, this is an old part of town, and we're going to blanket this whole area with a elevated rail, steel on steel, 30 feet above us. It's going to be going by every minute and a half. With all the noise that it has, tell me it's not going to have an effect on this tranquil, lovely park.
You know, the history in New York, I mean, all the rail lines were L's up in the late 1800s. I think the 3rd Avenue L was the last one to go down.
And here we have the lovely little watercress farm, which is going to be blanketed by an enormous concrete structure. You know, there are several reasons why Governor Cayetano has been so opposed to this. He's appalled at the visual blight and what we would be leaving future generations. But he also knows, as he says, this will suck all the wind out of Honolulu in repairing and maintaining anything.
The next station is here, Aloha Stadium. It has its own separate parking lot, different from the Aloha Stadium parking lot. The next station is the Pearl Harbor Naval Base. and that will straddle this this whole area with escalators, stairs, elevators on both sides. Going to take a right angle here in a little while and go into the airport. It's going to be a fairly long walk from the station into the airport proper.
Can you imagine what the traffic is going to be like at this intersection with the transit center here and all the building that's going to go on?
Basically, they're going to take a slice of 10 feet off of the Mackay side of Dillingham for the whole length.
So that'll be one less lane of traffic. Now we're looking at traffic at 11 o'clock in the morning. Imagine one less lane. Notice down here that a lot of the turning lanes will have to go, which are so convenient. So without the turning lanes, it's going to tie up more of the traffic. The businesses along here are going to be severely impacted. We're going right next to a school on our left. The train is going to go by every minute and a half at 80 decibels. And we're getting close to Costco and Home Depot. I don't think very many people are going to make their Costco run on the train.
When we come up to Ka'ahi, there's no point in us going in. It's a kind of a dead-end street. But that's where the station is going to be.
Are you enjoying these beautiful monkey pods on the left side, on the Mauka side of the street? That's been a big concern of the outdoor circle with the number of trees that are going down.
Now you see this street on the left-hand side coming into. It's going to run along the side of it. The one on the left-hand side here. Okay. This is where it's going to run down there, and it runs through there and connects up with Ka'ahi. Okay. It's going to come out, and about where these trees are, these palm trees, it's going to run down the center.
As we got closer to downtown, it seemed increasingly clear that the adverse effects of the rail system are huge.
This thing is going to separate downtown from the harbor.
We'll take a left up here and then a left in front of the power station, and we'll park on the right-hand side of the road.
The bottom of it is going to be 35 feet in the air. It's going to be over 6 stories high, covering the Dillingham Transportation Building, covering the entrance to Bishop Street, covering the entrance to Aloha Tower, ruining any vision, any view of the ocean, of the harbor. You know, the Outdoor Circle, Hawaii's 1,000 Friends have been working very hard against this. League of Women Voters, very against this. But unfortunately, we have some organizations that for whatever reason, they have to look at themselves. They've not decided to protect these historic locations.
It's astonishing that we're building this multi-billion-dollar rail line when we can't fix the potholes.
When you have the mayor telling you that we can do all of this, we can do everything, people tend to believe him.
If it gets built, the traffic congestion along Nimitz, where we're looking right now, will be horrendous.
Once this is built, it's built permanently, forever. This is the size of the pillars, 8 feet around.
Now this is a street that's going to be totally destroyed. Next station is right here. It's called the Civic Center Station.
You know, you take a place like Kaka'ako, which is so thriving. It provides a place for small businesses to get a start. And then you completely disrupt it. Where are these small businesses going to move to, where they have the access that they have here in Kaka'ako, where they can afford the rent, where they can get a start? Where are you going to move them?
As it comes down to about here, it shifts it shifts to the right-hand side, so that when it turns, that makes the 45-degree angle across and through this shopping center.
Having to cut through here, cut through Sports Authority. This is a thriving little business community down here. Where are these folks going to move to? Where are they going to park their cars? How are they going to get by?
The station back there by Ross is, no, that's the Kaka'ako station. The next station is Ala Moana Center.
The sound to these new condominiums is going to be shattering.
It's going to come down the center of this street here, Kona Street. Then this is the end of the rail.
Okay, so that makes it difficult to continue the rail from here without replacing all of what they've just built in the last few years
Yes.
at Ala Moana.
Tourists would be coming from the airport and getting off the train at Ala Moana, would then have to take a bus to Waikiki, and they're not allowed to take luggage on the bus. The public has been greatly misinformed. They have not been able to visualize what those stations are going to look like in Kapolei with nothing else out there. They have not been able to visualize how this will look going down Dillingham, and they have not been able to visualize how their lives are going to be impacted.
One of the biggest issues is where the public has been misled. And I do think that a majority of the people still believe that traffic congestion will be better once the rail line is built. Even though the city has clearly stated, but they've stated it quietly in the environmental impact statement, that traffic congestion, once rail is built, will be worse than it is today.
Construction is presently on hold by virtue of a court order, and if Ben Cayetano runs for mayor, the public may get a chance to vote on rail in the mayoral election in November.
All things considered, we came away thinking that the rail controversy is still alive and well, and that it's not too late to reconsider the project in general.
It is not too late to stop this. All people have to do is call the mayor, call their elected officials, and tell them they don't want to have this. It is not too late.
Once everybody understands that traffic congestion with rail in the future will be worse than it is today, then support for it will just disappear. The city, in their own words, in the environmental impact statement, have told us traffic congestion will get worse.
So stay tuned to ThinkTech for more information about the fight over rail. It's not over yet, and frankly, it looks like there's much more to come.
Thanks to Cliff and Bobbie Slater for the tour and the commentary. They said they'd be available to do it again anytime.
And thanks to our driver Eddie and our cameraman Malcolm McCarew for sticking with it over the 2 hours it took to follow the path of the rail.
ThinkTech's operations director Roger Overling came along for the ride. When it was over, we asked him about his reactions to the tour.
There were 3 or 4 points that I found to be very enlightening as a result of that tour. The first one, obviously, is cost. It's a major project that's going to disrupt a lot of the city in its construction. But the things that I think struck me the most were, how will they maintain it? We rode along roads that were full of potholes, unmaintained, and then we have a very expensive system, highly automated, so forth, and I question whether the city is going to be able to maintain it. Another area, I think, is the beauty. Along the path that the rail will take, that we drove along, there were a huge number of trees that would have to be cut down, beautiful monkey pod trees. You look at the new trees they planted along Ala Moana Nimitz Highway for APEC, and those will be replaced by pilings to support this edifice. I was concerned a bit about some of the locations of the stations. For example, there wasn't anything that would allow visitors easily to get to the Ford Island Air Museum, the Arizona Memorial, and so forth. They would have to be some kind of a shuttle or other service to run from the closest stations to those because they were just too far away to walk. And I guess I was concerned about the airport to Ala Moana situation. Obviously, there's the potential with a rail system, as it is in many cities, to go from the airport into town. This goes to Ala Moana Center. They can take their luggage on the rail, but once they get there, they can't take a bus because the bus doesn't want you to carry luggage on it, so they still have to arrange another means to get to their hotels.
It was an irony. You look down at these roads, so many roads that we passed along the path of the rail, with potholes that had not been maintained in years. The war on potholes back in the Hanneman days, it never got finished. We never won that war. In fact, maybe we lost that war. So now those potholes are still there. What makes anyone think that putting rail in on top of those roadways is going to improve anything.
I'm concerned.
So am I. Thank you, Roger.
Thank you, Jay.
Now for our ThinkTech calendar of events going forward.
ThinkTech's 4 to 5 p.m. weekly drive time radio series on KGU 760 AM continues this week, covering business, Asia, tech, energy, the arts, and government. Tune in to 760 AM every weekday at 4 p.m. and raise your awareness on ThinkTech Radio.
On January 26th, the Hawaii Venture Capital Association and ThinkTech will present the annual Deal of the Year Awards, celebrating the best deals of the year for entrepreneurs in Hawaii. Sign up for these programs on hvca.org. And now here's Bill Spencer, president of the Hawaii Venture Capital Association, with this week's Spensation.
The beginning of the year, my goodness gracious, and here we are off and running. But one of the things that throws a shadow these days on everything is the economy. People, don't know what's going to happen, but maybe the Council of Revenues knows everything. What do you think?
Well, if they do, they paint a pretty drear picture, Jay. I mean, it is all about the economy, and I'm always intrigued by how they can really project and pick numbers out of the blue. Clearly, we continue to rely on tourism. They indicate that there's some activity in the renewables sector. But as we know, and as you've portrayed on ThinkTech, that's a challenging area. The margins are slim. And Hawaii already has quite a bit of renewable activity compared to other states. So what about everything else? I mean, as you know, we're having our Deal of the Year award ceremony,
January
26th. And we're having a hard time finding a lot of deals. In previous years, maybe 5 or 6 deals, and this year it's hard to find a lot of deals. Last year was 2010 where Act 221 was in place, so we're really seeing the effect of that having gone away. I think, of course we're all concerned about Europe, but look at China now. The rumblings coming out of China are that the real estate, which is the great source of wealth for so many people, has really died off. There's no easy money there like there used to be. They may be going down the same path we went through a few years ago. So I think there's also concern that we're not really ready for Chinese tourism. The shopkeepers speak Japanese, they don't speak Chinese, and that really could be alienating to attract especially those big spenders.
Yeah, and there's no Chinese signs in the airport or elsewhere.
So, I think we got to keep focusing on the economy. We got to keep focusing on diversification. We can't let that slip by. And hopefully the Council on Revenues' crystal ball is not as clear as they'd like us all to believe, but we'll find out.
Thanks, Bill.
You're
Happy
welcome.
New Year,
Happy
Bill.
New Year.
Shinyin Kwaila. And here's our co-working entrepreneurs, Richung Fujihira and Tony Stanford, to keep us current on their latest adventures at the Box Jelly.
Jelly Week is coming, is near, and is close.
Jelly Week, worldwide # Jelly Week. So basically what it is it's a group of jellies, so co-working meetups that are going to be global, and we're the ambassadors for Hawaii, and we're the only ones in the middle of the Pacific doing it, and we're really looking forward to bringing in a lot of people. Basically, the idea is just to get people in the door from a business standpoint, seeing what we do, and then signing them up with our membership program, which we're really changing. And we're doing something that we haven't seen anywhere else. We're changing the prices, and I'll go a little bit into that a little bit later. So just to tell you a quick overview about the things that we're doing during Jelly Week. On Monday, we're going to have Bill Spencer from Hawaii Venture Capital Association. He's going to be speaking, and we're going to be having him speak with a young entrepreneur. So we're going to have kind of a juxtaposition of two different
Yin and
styles.
yang style.
Yeah, yin and yang style. It's going to be good for Martin Luther King Day. It's good for the globe, Worldwide Jelly Week. The next day, we're going to be having a mixer with organic clothing, and they're going to be having an acoustic guitar session. The third day is a private party. On Thursday, we're going to be having high capacity makerspace, having an open house. And then Friday, we're going to be opening it up to our community, just hang out and chill and talk story.
So this starts on the 16th, and it continues on through the whole working week. So from 10 to 6, it will be open to the public to come down and really get their jelly on.
Yes. If you want to have more information, check out boxjelly.com. We're redesigning the site. We're going to be launching it for Jelly Week, so we're super excited about that. We've been working on it for a couple weeks now. Work the way you live.
Place to work,
Place to meet.
place to build. Work the way you live.
Work the way you live.
Thank you.
Thanks.
We'll be right back to wrap up this week's edition of ThinkTech, but first we want to thank our underwriters.
Thanks to the Schuyler Family Foundation, which supports a number of educational, cultural, and charitable organizations, including ThinkTech.
Hawaiian Electric Company and its affiliates Miko on Maui and Helco on the Big Island are deeply committed to the communities they serve.
Galen Ho is a senior executive of BAE Systems, a global defense, security, and aerospace company, and CEO of CBI Polymers, a tech company in Hawaii.
Oceanit, another local tech company, is one of Hawaii's largest and most diversified science and engineering companies.
Okay, Alisa, that wraps up this week's edition of ThinkTech. Remember, you can watch ThinkTech on OC16 several times every week. Can't get enough of it, just like Alisa does. For additional times, check out oc16.tv.
You bet, Jay. For lots more ThinkTech videos and for underwriting and sponsorship opportunities on ThinkTech on OC16, visit thinktechhawaii.com. Be a sponsor or volunteer and help us reach Hawaii.
I'm Jay Fidell. Thanks so much for joining us on ThinkTech.
I'm Alisa Onishi. Aloha, everyone.